I'm Matt Reese. I'm the editor for Ohio's Country Journal, and we are in a series working with the Ohio Soybean Council, highlighting animal agriculture around the state of Ohio and how important that is and how important the relationship is between soybean farmers and Ohio's livestock industry. And today I'm talking with Dr. Jeff Firkins. He is a professor at Ohio State University in dairy nutrition and microbiology. Welcome, Dr. Firkins. Thanks for taking some time to be with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Now, the rumen is a fascinating thing, and dairy nutrition is a fascinating thing. And a lot of times, the more you learn about some of those things in your area of study, the more you know that you need to know, or the more you know you don't know. And soybeans, of course, is a valuable feedstuff for a lot of different species and can play a role in dairy nutrition as well. And you've done some work on that. Could you just give maybe a little bit of a background and overview of some of the work you've done with soy and dairy rations?
Okay, sure. So actually, when I first started here, I started using soybean hulls. They used to be added with soybean meal, and then they were kind of being separated out. And we looked at them as a fiber source to help provide sort of a forage extender. We found that basically the main way was to kind of dilute starch and help provide a really highly degradable fiber source. So moved on that. I've done a lot of work with amino acid nutrition, how soybean meal is the precursor for microbial protein in the rumen, which is the main source of protein for the cow. And we've done quite a bit of work with full fat soybeans with roasting and how you process them afterwards and how it affects milk fat production.
Now, as you go and look at those different soy products, it's all comes from the soybean, but the way it's managed and handled makes it fit in different ways into the dairy ration. What are some of the valuable uses of those different soy products, and how do they fit into managing that ration for dairy cattle?
Well, especially in Ohio, where there's a lot of corn silage as kind of the main forage base, it's kind of lower in protein and already kind of, already has starch in it. So the soybean hulls help to make sure you don't add too much starch from corn grain. And then soybean meal, you need the protein, and it's an excellent source for the microbes, like I said. But the real thing that's great about soybean products is they really have pretty low variability. So when you buy something, you kind of know what you get, unlike some other byproducts. It's just very consistent. And so there are several soy products that are used to what we call make a bypass protein source. And then they're really high in lysine, which helps to complement the low lysine that's in corn products. So all the way through the ration on the protein side, you're going to see lots of soy products that enter the market.
Well, and along with being consistent quality, they're not maybe the lowest cost option, but they are a fairly affordable option to include in, right? That the economics play out well for soybeans as well, right?
Yeah, correct. There's supply and demand, and the price of soy products is going to vary along with the price of other competing products. So, generally speaking, they're going to be pretty, at least a really high quality source, and usually pretty competitive. And if not, people will go to other sources. But usually soybean products hang in there and do a pretty good job. So we see a lot of them in dairy rations in Ohio, a lot of soy products. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And farmers of livestock in Ohio obviously want their livestock to have the best quality diets, because good quality diets carry through the entire production chain. And that, I think, is especially important in dairy cattle. Why is a good diet so important for dairy cattle, milk production, and everything that follows through the whole supply chain? Why is that diet worth studying and worth looking into?
Well, when you provide the right sort of balance of protein sources that provide the rumen with what it needs, and then help to allow amino acids to bypass the rumen, you peak in higher milk production. You really are sort of pushing the cows with high potential to make milk, and usually then that's going to follow through and be more economic, because you're really stimulating the ones that you're more likely to make money on. And in today's environment, where there's some pressure to try to reduce phosphorus and nitrogen in the environment, by having a more consistent product, and along with the research that's been done to help those to be used, we can have a little bit lower protein diet and still provide the cow with what she needs. That means there's going to be a little bit less excretion of nitrogen in the manure, and then less going into the environment. So every year, new research is helping to make that more and more likely that we're able to sort of customize the kind of protein needs for a cow, and to be able to do a better job of getting what she needs with a little bit less input. So it's sustainable economically and environmentally.
In addition to all that we've talked about so far, there's also been some more recent work on high-oleic soybeans and how those can play a role. What have you done in terms of that, and how do those high-oleic soybeans fit into the mix?
Well, I haven't actually done research with High-oleic myself, but colleagues, for example, Michigan State, Penn State have. But I have done a lot of research with regular conventional ones. We know how to process them to heat them. So we did the work to provide enough heat and so on. So we are bypassing the rumen, but not so much heat that would cause heat damage. The one of the issues that had been kind of limiting soybeans then is that the high linoleic acid concentration, when that gets available in the rumen, you can only feed so much of it. It has to be biohydrogenated, or some of the biohydrogenation processes, some of the fatty acids resulting from it can actually decrease milk fat. And so what high oleic acid soybeans have really done is help to make a fat source that goes into the diet that also increases milk fat coming out of the cow in the milk. And so it's been really a nice gain. All the research is fairly consistent on that one, that you are actually increasing milk fat production, which has a high value in the marketplace. So I think high oleic soybeans have a lot of potential to be used, and we're going to definitely see more of those being used.
Mm-hmm. And Ohio State has a long history of really good work and research into the area of dairy nutrition, and it's great to see folks like you continuing that tradition and working with Ohio's valuable dairy industry and Ohio's valuable soy industry. So thank you for all your work, Dr. Firkins, on what you've done there, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you, and I have to give some credit to some great colleagues that I've had over the years too.
Mm-hmm.
Take care.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones there at Ohio State.
Yeah, and dairy nutrition, it's been a fun place to work, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I appreciate your time today.
Go Bucks.